Hi, my name is Caris Vujcec, and welcome to another edition of Push. Katie Brow is also here, and today we are very thrilled to be speaking with ASHA ETCHISON. ASHA, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here. I first became acquainted with ASHA's work, although she created this series a few years ago, and certainly is a working actress here in New York City, and has done several episodic and procedural roles at the New Jersey Web Fest. And I saw what I thought was a phenomenal pilot called SinFull. Asha, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you come from.
Oh, well, I am a Jersey girl, born and raised, and especially
Okay.
in this time of filming, I'm so grateful to be near New York and able to get there. Um, I fell in love with musical theater. That's where I actually started. And I mean, I think that's where a lot of people start in the theater on the stage. And from there, I just kind of found myself moving towards film because I loved being able to like see the finished product and see what it was like when everyone got their hands on it because it's so different from when you're on set. You know, you give your part and then you see what the director did, the editors, everything. But from there, I found myself a bit dissatisfied and wanting to portray certain stories and certain characters and see more people that look like me or love the things that I loved. And that kind of moved me into being a filmmaker. Hi, I'm Asha Etchison. I am an actress, writer, and director, and most currently the creator of SinFull.
Wow, that's a great trajectory and a great story. And love that you're from New Jersey and that we became acquainted with you at New Jersey Web Fest. Festival that I love, as everyone knows.
Yes,
It was so great, right? It's always
yeah.
so great. Neem and his team do a wonderful job.
This was actually my first year there, so it was amazing. It has such a family vibe, and it was so supportive, and so I'm so happy to see something like that, especially here in New Jersey.
Yes, and there's many other festivals in the Web Series World Cup circuit, and they all have wonderful and unique, different, specific kind of vibe, feel, and are known for highlighting, emphasizing, creating, wonderful atmospheres among creators.
Yeah,
New Jersey, I think, sets a high bar, however.
definitely.
Yeah, it's awesome. Asha, getting to know you a little bit here. Was it a dream of yours to become a storyteller? I know you mentioned being, a musical theater first, but in terms of specifically writing your own show, was it something that I know it said you something that you started to do on your own, but when you were younger and seeking, looking for a path, did you know you wanted to be an actor?
I don't think I consciously knew that I wanted to be an actor. I think it was something I just did. I was always singing in something or, walking around a tree telling a story and holding my mother as a captive audience.
It's
And
great.
it's just one of those things that I just did it. And it wasn't honestly until I was a senior in high school and, we're thinking about college and what do we want to get a degree and go to school for that I really sat down and I was like, I want to do the thing that I've been doing and that I love. And there was a lot of pushback. A lot of people have opinions about the arts and pursuing that as a career, but I could not envision myself in any other career. And I
Wow.
was like, the only way I see myself doing those things is if I'm acting like I'm doing those things.
Wow. That's a passion. That's truly, right? Knowing that you're
Yeah.
meant to do it and that you really want to be doing it. How do you develop your ideas into written stories? So, we can start with Sinful because I'm dying to hear all about it. Or
Of
you
course.
can talk about just a more simpler process of maybe when you're starting to craft ideas and then define further what ones you're going to pursue.
I think it starts with intrigue. It has to be something that I find myself interested in, like a little seed, a little concept. It can be just like one sentence of like, what if such and such happened? And then it's like it just starts to bloom from there. And a big part of my writing process is that I need to see something. So I will listen to music, I'll, in the shower, anything that kind of puts me into a meditative, just chill space. And I literally watch whatever in my head as if I'm watching a movie already. And then I sit down and start writing. And of course, when you're in the process of actually writing, certain things kind of don't work, don't make sense, you edit it out. But it really is thought, you know, being conceived, having to see it first.
That's interesting. I kind of follow that same. I'm very visual. It's
Mm,
here, and it so much so that I have actors in mind even before I start writing something,
hmm
and that then helps me continue with their character development and how I see something progressing, and then what really would they be saying, what would be coming out of their mouth, or what wouldn't be,
Yeah. The
Um,
world builds itself a lot of the times. So,
that's cool, right? Takes off. So tell us about Sinful.
so SinFull is a dark supernatural like thriller. I like stories that the morality is kind of gray. Everybody in it is just doing the best they can or what they think is the best, and that might not always be the best. And so, Sinful is about a young woman who is cursed to eat the sins of others. And as a result of that, she attracts sinners to her. Now, the whole premise is that she's stuck in this house that's called the Lantern. The Lantern decides who can see it, where it'll pop up, usually in abandoned places and so forth. But sinners see it and they're drawn to it. And it's one of those things where, you kind of love to hate because she hates the fact that she has to consume sin. She hates the fact that she's around these individuals that no matter what, how terrible the sin is, she needs it to live. And so one day, this young man comes to her and says, "You ate the sins of my grandfather. He was able to be sin free. He left here. He was able to live his life, morally straight, correct." And so I know you have this ability. I'm looking for a special artifact. And in order to find it, I know you attract sinners. So help me work with this other band of sinners that have special skills. And I don't want to give it away, but like if you were to watch it, one is a master thief, one is a master of poisons, and then we have this mastermind. And it's like, let's assemble this group and help me go find this, and I'll help you break this curse that you hate.
It's just incredible. It's just a dynamite premise. I'm telling you. I don't know how you came up with this, but it really is. It's
Thank
amazing. My jam, my genre is also thriller and not so much supernatural, but I have some ideas flashing around with that, have
you.
written that stuff. But I just think it's really so well thought out and crafted, and then it's very intricate, which of course makes for the best thrillers. People just keep wanting to know more and more and more. How did you, the woman that the lead, obviously who you play so beautifully,
Thank you.
um, you're welcome, being cursed, what was the thought around that? I'm just curious if is it something you're just for thinking about curses or burdens or something like that?
I I wanted it to be where you have this young woman who has this burden, thrust upon her. And as a result, she is isolated in the world and yet sees the most ugliest parts of it. It's drawn to her and she has to survive off of it. And I wanted to show, in a sense, how people can evolve, especially in situations that are thrust upon you that you did not choose. And so from this, especially as the story unfolds, I show how, a curse can become a blessing and vice versa. And so it really is about just perspective and like what you make of what life has given you.
That's great. Wow. What a great spin on that, of kind of not spin, but turning it to the positive.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, I've seen it was the pilot you said you had it,
Yes.
the right. I've seen it and I love it, and I'm not going to give anything away. Is there a place where people can watch it?
So we currently have it on YouTube. You can
Great.
find it on my channel, ASHA ETCHISON. And once again, we have just the pilot out right now, but we are moving forward into creating more episodes for season one coming this spring.
Awesome. That's great. Where have you been able to find your funding for the series and support?
So this has actually been something very new to me, especially as a small filmmaker, kind of diving into that world. When I actually created the first episode, I did the funding myself. So I took out a small loan of like 5,000, and a lot of that went to the crew and the cast, making sure that they were properly paid for. And then everything else, it was really about quality, but what did I have access to? And so a lot of the spaces were actually shot in my home. The hospital scene was in my dining room. We used the kitchen table and pushed it up
Yeah.
against the wall, used lights, really just tried to be creative with what was accessible to us. And
Hmm.
as I move forward, there are a lot more people that are interested in trying to help it. And so it's kind of one of those things where a proof of concept. You show people what you're capable of, and now it's more of I believe in this. I want to help. A lot of the funding will still come from me, and I'm still exploring and learning on this journey. How to bring others into collaborating.
That's certainly shooting something like the pilot. When you said the first, you're saying this first one, you meant the pilot. Yeah.
Yeah.
It- they can really serve well as proof of concept. So you're really smart to be, showing that around. And of course, you've been winning awards and doing really well. So hopefully, more people will be interested in supporting the work. Since you've written and produced SinFull, how have things changed for you as a creator going forward now?
Since writing and producing SinFull, I think as a creator and an overall creator, an actor, a director, a writer, I understand storytelling a bit more. I understand the connection of reaching the audience and, sharing a message and how to convey that as a director, how as an actor I need to show up to, have that felt. And I think I just understand the world a little more of storytelling and how powerful it can be. So I'm really grateful to SinFull for opening up doorways to other people's hearts as well as my own through my work.
I wanted to get to a kind of a more specific question for you personally based on what we talked
Mm.
about, because you've talked about your evolution a bit. Tell us about your acting work. You've got this
Um,
enormous, like, IMDb roster of work. So, uh, share a little bit about your experiences.
Thank you. I feel incredibly blessed to have that roster because I didn't really switch over to TV and film until 2020. And we all know what
Whoa.
took place. Yeah, we all know what took place. And before that time, for like 4 to 5 years, I was trying so hard to get a manager, trying to get an agent. It was just a circus of just feedback loop. And it was one of those things where I started to try to manifest, to just write down to the universe, like, thank you so much for my perfect manager, perfect agent, just trying to stay positive. There were close calls with certain people, but it just didn't feel right. And having to sit and be like, listen, I know you want this, but don't settle. This is important. And so in 2020, I like to joke like when the world stopped, and not joking why the world stopped, but when the world stopped, it's kind of like when my dreams were able to catch up with me finally. And so I ended up signing to my first agent, which was voiceover, funny enough. Um, and that was such a blessing because at one point, voiceover was the only thing that we could do as actors
Right.
that was out there. But that taught me so much, like the power of your voice and the way that you can make someone feel or, really step into a character and where your voice lives in your body. I feel like that really helped me as an actor. And then I ended up signing with my managers over at Entertainment Lab. And from there, it was just like learning and progressing. And something I would tell myself is in this world, there's going to be a lot of obstacles. You know, you're going to come across them either being a woman of color, being, 5'3", whatever. It's going to be obstacles. And I told myself the one thing you will not do, though, is be your own obstacle. You will not get in your own way. You will not make excuses. If there's something that needs to be done, somewhere where you're weak, somewhere where you know you can be stronger and you need to, like, get the new headshot, do this, whatever it really needs to be done, I'm like, you're going to find a way to do it. And so for the next few years, I was just in classes and I was learning from classes how to be stronger at self tapes, how to, uh, a big thing for me that changed the game for me was learning script analysis. And I think that also helped me eventually a little later with writing SinFull because I'm understanding scripts and how, certain things are being conveyed through text, what the writer wants, what the director might want from this. And so from there, it was just like, when you're prepared, the opportunity meets you. And I am very grateful, very blessed for all the credits that came through, all the people I was able to work with during such, a time in our history, the strikes that took place, and then shortly after. So
Yeah.
I've worked on a lot of great things.
Yeah, I mean, what you just said about you won't be your own obstacle, that's incredibly empowering. That is so great to hear because there are enough anyway
Yeah.
already, So thank you for that. Do you have a favorite role that you've done in the episodic circuit here, in television circuit here in the city or film?
Hmm.
One that
I,
you
I
really
love
stands out?
I love all the things that I've done, but um, I like playing things that are kind of opposite me as a person because you
Hmm?
really got to dive into it. I had the honor of working with Queen Latifah recently, and it was for an inmate named Mika in The Equalizer. And it was just incredible to kind of step into that because the energy of that character, just her vibe, they gave me little fake tattoos on my knuckles and stuff, and you're just feeling it. You're like, oh, okay, I'm badass. And that was so fun. And especially to do something that is believable, that everybody kind of like feels it. And another incredible thing about that moment is the character was playing, what is it, air hockey?
Oh
And
yeah,
am I saying it right? No,
air
ping
hockey.
pong.
Oh, ping
It was
pong.
it
Oh,
was ping
okay.
pong. See, this is relevant because when I showed up, I thought that they were going to have like a double plane. They were like, "Oh no, you jumping in." I'm like, "Wait, what?" Because I know I'm missing out, but I've never played it. So literally before we jumped onto set, I'm hair and makeup, I get ready, I'm there. And like some of the extras who were there and some of the crew people were just so kind enough to be like, "You want to play?" And they're just teaching me. We're just playing back and forth. I started sweating. I was really getting a workout, but I think that's such a part of like a great part of being an actor is like when you're really immersing into the life and you're just
Diving
like,
in, right?
yeah, yes.
Listen, I haven't played ping pong in years, so I wasn't scoffing at that. I was saying, they show you, you're like, no, you're really going to be doing this. This is.
Man, I sucked, but I sucked happily.
You got better during the shoot, I bet, though, right?
I did. I did.
Yeah. Did they have a close up of your knuckles on the paddle? Is that what part of it?
They did. They did like a side boob.
Of course.
Yes. I'm like,
That
look, mom.
DP's like that DP's like, okay, make a good fist. Let's see those tattoos they put on you. Okay,
Yes.
smack that ball, smack that ball.
Yes. Prop your wrist up just like that. Perfect. Hold it. Yes.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's great. Wow, I mean Queen Latifah too. That's
Yes.
what an icon.
Incredible.
Yeah. Wow, good
Incredible.
for you. Congrats on that.
Thank
Like I
you.
said, and on all your other work and how great that you started your trajectory. It's just like, you keep moving with it, which is wonderful. Is there, what when you think of the word push, I'm just going to dive right into it. Do you had said at the top of our call before we were recording that this, first quarter of 2025, you're trying to find more of a natural flow and not be too crazy with things. Can you
Yeah.
talk, I'm paraphrasing, so can you talk to us a little bit more about that, about your feelings and your thoughts around that?
I feel like I'm at a space where, of course, intentional movement is always going to be important, and we're always striving, but I feel as if it's important for balance. And I think in this career, whether you are an actor or a director, whatever your process is, we kind of get on this hamster wheel of constantly pushing, constantly striving, constant like to where it kind of worries me at time where it's like, will we be okay with peace? If you reach a moment of pause and peace and rest, will you recognize it or will it feel scary because you feel like you're not doing? And
Right.
so, something big for me, I started it last year and I want to kind of continue it this year, is being appreciative of those moments of productivity and making things happen, but also knowing that sometimes the work happens in between the gaps. And, that time needs to be spent with family, with friends, with hobbies, with developing yourself as a person. And so for me, I don't really want to push too hard this year, especially this first quarter. I just kind of want to let myself be led and in the flow and just see what am I naturally pushed towards.
That's exactly it. Like push is an extension of the momentum that's naturally happening, right?
Yeah.
I was talking with another creator about, he had mentioned this about ebb and flow, like waves crashing on the shore, then getting kind of
Yes.
sucked back out, gravitationally or just, momentum wise to the ocean. And then the next round might hit the shore in a more gentler way. And then it comes back in again. And then sometimes it hits it really hard. For me,
But
I
it's
find that to be a
natural.
great metaphor because I feel like that's, for me, part of the creative process is sometimes I follow that natural, there's a natural flow to ideas coming and work that's
Mhm.
happening and I'm in the zone and in the flow of it. And then other times, like you said, there's moments of stillness and recognizing this isn't that. But then out of that stillness and quiet and balance comes something else, right?
Yes. And I think that if we're so busy pushing, 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 you don't allow the gaps to get filled. As you mentioned with that analogy, the in and the out, you don't allow, creator, spirit, God, whoever, you align with, you don't allow surprises to come in and add to your life and to your process. Even with filmmaking, how many times did we have a storyline and in that moment of just kind of going with the flow and pausing, an idea was pushed into your life that you didn't think of, and you're like, oh, that would actually be great for this character, or oh, I didn't think, it enriches to allow yourself to just kind of be there.
Right. Spontaneity, allowing for spontaneity, right?
Yes.
Yep. I think that's really good. Wow. You've got such great, insightful answers.
Thank you, and
Fresh.
same.
Do you find, and this is, I know some people who have other experiences have a different answer to this question, but or a more complex answer to this question. How is for you the creation to full production process? Do you feel as though you are literally giving birth to something like an idea or a project or and then how do you like when second part of that, when you released SinFull, did you feel it was really an extension of yourself?
Mm. Hmm. Well, for the first part of the question, I think there is a little mix of fear there, as it is with anything else that, anything you're creating, anything you are, in a sense, birthing, ready to birth. Um, there was a little uncertainty, there was a little fear, and it's kind of that moment of like, am I capable of this? Is it worth it? Should I even do it?
Uh-huh.
And, will anyone care? And kind of getting over that first and telling myself, SinFull, like for me, SinFull was for me. And I'm like, you want to do this. This story is in your head, it's in your heart. It wants to be told. It keeps telling itself to you. It's unraveling more and more. And so I was like, all right, let's just do it. Let's just make it. And so really putting in that time and that energy. I'm more of a type A personality, I guess you would say. So I'm very organized with the spreadsheets and the charts and all of that, but that's just what my mind needs. And so, really sitting down and planning and being like, we're going to do this. And I think that was the first step, is getting it out of my head and just getting it on paper and being like, oh, okay, this thing is now outside of me. It's in the world somehow, it's on paper. And taking it from there, believing in that thought and sharing it with others, and other people being like, yeah, like I want to help. I want to be a part of this. How can I help? Casting, all of that. And it's such a learning process because a lot of this, I knew it from the actor side to a degree, but I didn't know it from the other perspective of being a casting director. Or, I remember SinFull like just impacting me so much because my team was amazing, and like hiring people who knew more than me and were more experienced
Right.
than me.
Yep.
Yes, but they could teach me. And so I had an amazing crew, and they kind of and I was very honest with them. I said, listen, this is new for me. I don't really know what I'm doing in this aspect, but I want to make sure I'm showing up in the best way possible that's supportive to you. Please let me know like what I need to do that. And I'm going to do my own research. I want to make sure I'm not putting everything on your shoulders. But they were excellent, and they were like talking me through and teaching me, and to where you just learn so much more than what you even started off with. And so that in itself was like a birthing. It was something I didn't even expect to come from this. Like I came to tell a story, and I'm over here, I don't know, building family, building friends, building experience, just so much. And in regards to the second question,
And by the
and
way,
I'm
that
sorry, can you
first
just
answer was phenomenal.
thank you, thank you, and I'm sorry, can you restate the second question?
I'm trying to remember what it was.
Oh,
I
it was
know it was something about
if SinFull feels like an extension of yourself.
Yeah, yes. Thank you,
yes,
Katie. Thank you.
thank you. Um, it does because I wanted as a creator, as an actress, as a woman of color, I wanted to see myself in a magical role, even if it was a difficult magical. I didn't want necessarily an easy storyline. I wanted something that, as an artist, I could also explore, concepts and things outside of myself through. And so, Simple is very much so an extension of myself. And it's scary to not, for this to be yours and you're not just stepping on someone else's set or someone else's script, because at first I didn't know if I should put SinFull out. It's like, yeah, you go through this whole process of creating it. And I literally taught myself for a year how to edit SinFull because it was just like, we didn't have that in the budget. So that part I learned how to do. But as I'm sitting there and I'm editing this thing, you have to learn to not judge yourself as you're watching these clips. I acted in it. Don't judge yourself. Does it serve the story? Kill your babies in a sense. I hate that phrase, but let's say kill your loves. I know that's worse, killing my love, but uh, to really look at something and be like, is this clip great because you shot it, or is it really helping the story? Like you just learn to detach, to let go of ego, just so much, and then having this final product and being like, okay, this was my blood, sweat, and tears. This was my idea. This is my face in there. What are people going to think? Like, are they going to like it? Was it a waste of time? And so I did not submit for festivals for almost like a year or some change when I submitted, like when I released SinFull, because I wasn't sure would anyone want it. Like, and putting it out there this year has been just, I never expected it to get this much love. And like it getting the reaction that it did really hit me to where that's when I decided to actually make more episodes because I was going to stop the story, to be honest.
Wow. Wow,
Yeah.
that's dynamite. I mean, the everything that you said about, having you have to have perspective, and it's hard to have perspective when it's your baby, right? Because
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
attached to it. So,
And as your baby, it can do no wrong. You're just like, oh,
right. But but it's having that discernment, right? And I know I rely on other people as well. So, even when I've directed, it's always drawing in the DP for their, of course, their eye, because they're essentially creating the vision with you. And then I've been fortunate to work with some really wonderful editors, and having them be like, no, no, you really don't need that clip. Yeah, I want that to be longer. No, no, no. It's, believe me, shorter is
yeah,
better, or another one, so I
yeah,
totally get what you're saying about that. It's having discernment and perspective, and then releasing that out into the world, and you not knowing, you don't know how it's going to
yeah.
be, but we're going to show a clip from SinFull now. I'm excited to share this bit of it with everyone, and then they can go check out more on YouTube.
Science!
So you said that you held on to the project for like a year, year and a half, however long. Was there like, because you said you weren't quite sure of the project. Was there a lot of going back and revising it as well? Was it just like tweaking it and finally coming to the conclusion that you did want to submit it? And then what was that straw, I guess, that like was placed on you that you're like, now it is time, it has to go out. People have to see this.
That's such a great question. There actually wasn't a lot of tweaking.
Okay.
Funny enough, when I wrote the script, I was doing a little revising and stuff, but I believed in the story. And I was like, it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm like, you just have to tell it. You can make it perfect along the way. You can tweak it along the way. Because I know that can be a roadblock. Trying to make something perfect will stop you from even starting. And so, when I got it out there and I took the time to edit it, I believed in it, but it still was that energy of, I know I love this, but festivals, things like that, does anybody want to sit and watch this? Is it worth it?
Yes.
Plus you gotta
Yeah,
submit.
the answer is yes.
Yes.
It's a big
But
yes.
also, thinking about like further funding, festival fees, things like that, it was just like, how much do I want to commit? And I think the last straw that made me actually put it out there is I realized once I released it to the world, it was no longer about me. And I'm like, this isn't just mine anymore. Like this is the crew that worked on it. This is the cast that was in it. It's a lot of other people that also came together to put their faith into this project. And it's not about my feelings. And so I was like, I want this to be seen and I want it to do well for all of us, but especially for them. And so putting it out there, I wanted the world to be like, hey, look what everyone came together and did. Like, look what we did at this point. And I'm so happy that I did because the love that came from it really empowered me moving forward to where I'm like, you know what? Just get the idea out there. Just give it to the world. Let them judge and see how they feel about it, but just do it. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think
Good for
like
you.
creation, especially collaborative creation, it does kind of hold you accountable a little bit.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Which
Oh
is
yeah.
That
sometimes very good for the creative process.
that's a great point, Katie, too. It's like you do have everyone that you've been working with, and I mean, I know I feel this way. It's an honor to put it out there, and I'm always mentioning the team and the collaboration, and this, but that's just the way I like to work. I enjoy collaborating. Not only is it a lot is it, it's a lot of fun, but it's just you become a family, and then you create something together that lives and breathes and has a life of its own. And I do think it's an extension of self. And so I was curious about that, how other people thought of that. So thank you. How is your focus now if you're moving into other projects, if you're creating some other things, how have some things changed over the past few years with not only changes in your own life, but with what we're dealing with in our any part of the climate you want to talk about? It could be political, financial, social. How have things changed the past couple of years for you? It could include, any of those things that I mentioned.
Um, hmm. I find that with everything that's been going on, because especially the last 5 years just feels like I don't know, one travesty or pandemic or just history. You know the phrase, I'm tired of living through history. It kind of feels like that after the other. I mean, the historic strikes that we went through as an industry, um, it really just feels like the change became more personal because I feel like at one point when it came to my career, I wanted to so badly be a part of the industry. I wanted to, I remember one time even just saying, like, I just want to be an actor. Like, I just want to tell other people's stories. And everything that has been happening has been teaching me how important it is to do in a sense for yourself and create from your heart. And because the industry might not be there, not in the sense that you knew it. And so I just feel like what I'm observing and what I'm feeling is a lot of people just kind of carving a corner out for themselves. And it just kind of feels revolutionary. Like we refuse to disappear, we refuse to be silenced. And in a sense, we are contributing to this time period of history by just continuing.
And
Even
being
during the pandemic,
independent. Yeah, and
yeah,
being
like
yeah.
because the industry in certain aspects is not here anymore. What we knew of it, what we defined of it, it's falling away as things do. And so we are at such a pivotal time right now where we are defining that next definition of being an artist, being in Hollywood or whatever the case is. That we're making that.
Second that. I thought that was really well put, Asha. I'd say that the past 5 years, I mean, it had been approaching
Yeah.
the feelings of like some sort of like, I don't know, things becoming untangled in a way, a little bit pre-pandemic, but then certainly when with pandemic and then with the strikes, and even now with how what's the landscape of the industry is so different, and I don't know how it is going to return. So I keep thinking I don't think it's going to go back. I think it's going to go forward with a
Yeah.
lot of different independent things happening, people creating, money coming from different sources, just in some new great creative and inventive ways. It's a good point that you talk about the importance of, and we're all here for that. We're all independent creators, of how we're going to need to keep pushing. There, I said
Yeah.
it. Pushing forward with that momentum as well. I know, you said it's just been about since 2020, so you're like 5 years into like a really great stride for yourself. But if you can project anything for, way future, Asha, when you look back and when people look at you and say, ah, I know who that is there any kind of legacy you have in mind already of something that you would like to be known for, leave, put a mark on? It's a
Hmm.
big ask or a weird ask, but if you can.
No, not at all. This feels like a manifesting moment. Something important to me is to create doorways because I know how difficult it was for me to get to where I am. It was necessary because everything I went through shaped me to become more. When I was ready to just stay little and want less, I feel like spirit was like, no, you are capable of more. But something I really want to do, like I have a dream of one day opening theaters, especially that dream came about when the pandemic hit. I worked on Broadway for a year as a COVID safety manager for like the different shows and stuff. And being in those different theaters, I thought about like, for instance, Phantom of the Opera, things like that. And I saw so many statues and stuff, and I was like, I want to see more people that look like me, like in the artwork, on the stages. So for me, I want to look back and say that I created doorways and spaces for people and all people. I want men and women working together. I want non-binary people on my stages, in my films. I want, people that may have, I don't know if the correct phrasing is disabilities or handicaps. I'm not exactly sure.
Yep.
But I want room for everyone who, in a sense, was shut out because if you look at everyday life, and especially the type of stories that I like to tell like fantastical, supernatural things. I love that because that's so limitless. Anything can happen, and I thrive in that thought of don't shrink, expand. what could happen if this person did have this ability or could do that thing? Sky's the limits, let's use our imagination. So for me, I want that for other people around me as well to feel included. That is what I want my legacy to be. People say I was able to come through because this doorway was here.
That's beautiful. Thank you. Wow.
Thank you.
Anything else you'd like to share or add about your creative process or your life or what you're focused on next? Thoughts for 2025? Anything?
Uh, I would say that right now, as I am creating the next 3 episodes of SinFull, I have really been enjoying that process. And I am so grateful and so thankful for you to reach out to do this interview because just the love that SinFull has gotten and the way that people have made it their business to really like reach out and tell me like, listen, I see you and I see this really means a lot because as I said, I wasn't intending to take the story any further. And so I just appreciate everyone. It makes me really realize that phrase, like it takes a village, a community, and like all of you, everyone has been like a village for me to where it's like, no, I believe in you, I see this story keep going. So for 2025, I intend to just keep creating, keep flowing, and leaving space for spirit to allow whatever else and whoever else is supposed to flow into that process to come on in.
Excellent. Thank you so much. This was so refreshing, enlightening, rewarding.
Thank you, Miss
I
Amy.
really got so much out of it personally. Thank you. And we wish you all the best with continuing with SinFull and with your career here in New York and abroad or across the country, whatever that may come to be or is. I look forward to checking with you woman to woman and how we're doing and
Thank
how
you so
things are
much.
going. Yeah. So I feel like we're have expanded our female filmmaker network here, which is really something that I am very much which is very close to my heart. So thank you. Thanks so much.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity and the platform, and I love what you're doing. Like, this is a doorway you're creating, and I'm happy to have walked through this doorway with
Oh,
you.
thank you so much, Asha. And thank you everyone for watching and being engaged and tuning in to another edition of Push.